Plato said, art is imitation of life. Adding to that, art is that process of yearning and curiosity, is the journey of exploration and discovery, is the essence of expression, communication, and sharing the chaos of findings through movement of a brush on canvas, bending and shaping a piece of metal into forms, drama of body movements, heartfelt words and rhymes, phenomenon of colors and magic of lights, and the mystery of digital recording and broadcasting moving objects and still images, which brings me to the subject of my exhibition, Mimesis, that I envisioned and curated, featuring Carlo Viparelli, an Italian artist who was born and educated in Naples with degree in philosophy. The exhibition consists of drawings, paintings, and mostly animated videos. I have invited Carla to join me to talk a little bit about her work. Carla, I saw your work about 3 years ago at the gallery in Culver City, which mesmerized me. It was one of your animated videos that you had projected onto the floor, pretty much at the entrance of the gallery. It created an element of surprise for me. So could you tell me about your animated work?
Yeah, I started to play with the moving images. It was just for fun, but after the first attempt, I thought, why don't I try with my artworks? And that first impact was an element of surprise on myself.
For you?
Yeah, that's why I was interested to create it and to underline in building the video animation. And in Culver City, because the gallery had this strange shape, so narrow and long, that space needed to have something in the middle, but also something that was not so big and tall, otherwise, because it was too narrow. So I thought to project something on the floor. It was my first
Which
animation.
was interesting.
Yeah.
Doing it on that way.
Yeah. It's very interesting to work into different space, because the structure of the space, the dimensions, the sides, gives you some input to create something yes, specific, site specific. And then I discovered one more thing, that if I keep the background of the animation black, it disappears. And then the element of surprise was a little bit bigger, because you just see the diatoms, the elements moving without any background that could have given them history, or it was just a vision.
I want you to tell me a little bit about the process of creating the animation. Typically, videos are made of moving objects or multiple images, but you don't do that. So tell me about the process of how you create your videos.
Yeah, to create one of the animation, it's enough one drawings or maybe two, sometimes three. That's enough. Then I make the drawings, and I like to make them on pastel, on rough paper, so the hand gestures are more evident. And then I take pictures of them, and then I put them in motion by computer with Photoshop generally, but also sometimes I need some different software to have some different effect. But most are made by Photoshop. I build the animation frame by frame, as I was drawing by hand. And this, I like this as at the end the animation keeps some warm character. It's not just an electronic effect, but it's something that you build, so it keeps some handcraft flavor.
Do you know exactly how the work is going to be at the end, or your whole process is the whole process of discovery and unknown?
Yeah. To build an animation is a little bit an engineer work. I mean that I need, before starting drawing, I need a planning stage. So I design the animation in my mind, I write a sort of storyboard, and then I start. There is always a gap between the planning stage and the work. And so what I have as a final product is never the same with my initial idea, and I like this. There is something happening during the process of working. Maybe also because it's so long, it takes so much time, and something should happen forcefully.
Mm-hmm. When do you know the work is done?
Jenna, this is a really interesting question, as I think that especially in painting, the most difficult things are about when I have to finish, when I have to stop. Generally, we artists do something a little bit too much. But in the animation is different, as I create a loop. So my first frame should be reached by the last one. So I have I encourage to say I finished. What is different is that I could do many paths to arrive to this last first frame. So the problem is not when finished, but if I choose the longer or shorter path.
You, of course, being from Italy, you are very familiar with the art of Renaissance, and you honor that. And your work brings that and the very contemporary art together. Yeah. So tell me about that.
This is the center of my research, because I like to be figurative. It's something so natural, it's as if I talk. It's my natural expression. Mm-hmm. And more, I like to be figurative because I feel the heritage of masters, and I like to be in this stream. And I like classical paint, beautiful things, harmony, and the feminine grace. But problem is, for me, the problem is to make it always contemporary. So my research is just about it, how update figurative and classical tradition. Mm-hmm. I like to try to research, to experiment in many different directions. That's why I discovered animation, because I always need the feel of do something more technological or cut or anything to feel me grounded on my contemporary moment.